Central.
Good evening, I'm Mike Binkley.
And I'm Inga Hammond. Straight ahead on Eyewitness News, a baby found dead in the Mississippi River is remembered by a group of people who never even knew her.
It's the one-year anniversary of the murder of Minneapolis police officer Jerry Haaf. Find out how his death has affected the community.
Propane tanks for hot air balloons explode, forcing residents in a Northern California town out of their homes.
Those stories plus a famous hitter takes a royal bow after 20 years on the diamond. Eyewitness News is next.
Hunk of the new fall season. He puts other reigning He-Men to shame.
I'll be seeing you.
I hope so.
Lois and Clark, Sunday at 8, 7 Central.
Good evening, I'm Mike Binkley.
And I'm Inga Hammond. Straight ahead on Eyewitness News, a baby found dead in the Mississippi River is remembered by a group of people who never even knew her.
It's the one-year anniversary of the murder of Minneapolis police officer Jerry Haaf. Find out how his death has affected the community.
Propane tanks for hot air balloons explode, forcing residents in a Northern California town out of their homes.
Those stories plus a famous hitter takes a royal bow after 20 years on the diamond. Eyewitness News is next.
At GMC Truck, we built a reputation for truck strengths. A considerable advantage. It also comes in this handy take-home size. Sierra from GMC Truck.
Did you know asphalt roofs crack, deteriorate, and leak unless protected from the weather? And replacement cost is high. Protect your investment. Save your existing roof with an easy-to-paint-on, cool, white, reflective, elastic coating of Snow Roof. Whatever type roof you have, Snow Roof Systems' maintenance program preserves and protects for less. Do your own roofing with Snow Roof Systems' easy-to-apply elastic roof coatings. Made easy for the do-it-yourselfer to paint on, Snow Roof saves you money.
At Knox Lumber, our own hardware and participating True Value.
Quality and value make your Ford dealer number one. Right now, 5 of the top 10 best-selling vehicles in America are Fords. Like Ford Taurus, the number one selling car in America. Ford F-Series, the number one selling truck in America. Ford Explorer, Ford Ranger, and Ford Escort, each number one in their class. Hurry in now for final clearance deals on remaining 93s. See your local Northland Ford dealer today and see why quality and value make your Ford dealer number one.
This is KSTP Channel 5, St. Paul, Minneapolis. Live from your 24-hour news channel. This is Eyewitness News at 6.
They didn't know her name, or even if she had one. This afternoon, hundreds attend a funeral for a baby they never knew. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight, the burial of an unknown infant.
The newborn was found in the Mississippi River last May. Now, since then, investigators have tried but failed to find out who she was and how she died. For 5 months, the baby remained at the medical examiner's office, and it appeared county funds would have to be used to cremate the body. But then, a group of caring strangers stepped forward. A tiny coffin rests at the front of the Weirdness Brothers Funeral Chapel. The home donated the service, another business the coffin, and more than 250 people gave their time, love, and affection.
I think it's real positive that there are that many people with compassion to give to someone that they don't know. I think it's a nice sign in times like this when you hear a lot of negative things.
Last May, the newborn was found here in the Mississippi River near the Plymouth Avenue Bridge. Her umbilical cord was still attached. The mother never came forward.
I can't imagine the torment that anyone would go through disposing of a baby.
But on this beautiful sunlit Saturday, these people made sure the baby had a proper burial. After the chapel service, the body was brought to Lakewood Cemetery. Here there were songs, prayers, and tears.
I couldn't do anything but imagine that baby. It just made me cry the whole way through the service. It's just really touching.
But also touching, the compassion and concern here today for the infant's mother.
As this expression of support was for this child, I think that everybody there felt that support for the mother as well.
It's a terrible thing to have happened, to have done, and a lot of desperation must have surrounded that. And I would love to think and pray for myself that somehow there'll be a light will come through and that something good can come out of this.
Now, the cause of the baby's death is still not known, but earlier this week, the medical examiner said the infant had residues in her blood which indicate her mother had used cocaine.
The other big story of the day, it's been a year now since the assassination of a Minneapolis police officer, a crime that, of course, outraged the Twin Cities.
Yeah, Jerry Haaf was gunned down while on a break at the Pizza Shack. 2 men have been convicted of Haaf's murders. 2 others have yet to stand trial.
Ross Kurgis joins us now live in front of the Pizza Shack with a look at the impact Officer Haaf's murder has had on the city. Ross?
Well, Mike and Inga, looking at it right now, you'd never be able to tell that what happened here a year ago today had such a big impact on the city. But the murder of Officer Jerry Haaf here not only impacted his family, but nearly every city neighborhood.
Seemed so unbelievable then, and it is today that way.
It was unbelievable to most Minnesotans when Minneapolis traffic officer Jerry Haaf was murdered. A gang killing apparently planned to send a message about police treatment of Minneapolis blacks.
He was shot because he was a blue shirt with a badge on it. He was not shot because he was Jerry Haaf. He was shot because he was an officer.
The trials and convictions that followed revealed the strained relations between police, the African-American community, and Minneapolis residents. A divide that is now at least being acknowledged.
I think it made all of us understand in the most sad kind of way how important it was to understand the need to have serious and specific and definitive dialogue.
While the dialogue has not healed the wounds, there are signs of improvement. Police admit to being more aware of the tension. More neighborhood block groups like this one have formed. They're groups that, because of an officer's murder, have reached out to those many once considered an enemy.
In our neighborhood, it served that purpose, that it brought people together to realize that we have to live amongst each other, regardless of race, color, creed, or where you go to work, or what do you wear, or what do you drive.
Now, there's a movement afoot by one of those block groups. They would like a portion of Hiawatha Avenue renamed Jerry Haaf Drive in memory of the slain officer.
Ross, you talked to Haaf's daughter. Is the family satisfied with the convictions of the 2 men so far?
Well, they're not allowed to comment on it too much right now, but for the most part, yes, they are satisfied. They say it's a system that their father believed in, and it's a system that so far has produced justice in the death of Jerry Haaf.
Okay. Thanks, Ross.
Thanks, Ross. Jury selection for one of Haaf's accused killers could resume next week. That is, if the Minnesota Supreme Court refuses to hear an appeal in the case against Mwati Pepe McKenzie. Now, he and his attorneys have been fighting to stop jury selection and just let the 6 jurors already selected hear the case. An appeals court has already ruled there must be 12 jurors. McKenzie is accused of being one of the triggermen in the murder of Officer Haaf. If the state Supreme Court agrees to hear the appeal filed by his attorneys yesterday, it could bring another lengthy delay.
2 teens are hospitalized tonight, the result of a drive-by shooting in Minneapolis. The attack happened at the corner of 33rd and Chicago. One victim was apparently talking on a telephone outside a grocery store. The second was walking in an alley behind the store. The getaway car matches the description of a car stolen earlier today. The victim's wounds are not life-threatening.
A Minneapolis man is in serious condition tonight after being shocked by an electrical line. It happened at 2229 Ridgewood Avenue in Minneapolis at about 12:30 this afternoon. It's not clear how it happened, but the man apparently came in contact with the lines while working on the roof of the home. He's being treated for burns.
Well, there's been a chill in the air at night lately, and that means it's time to check those furnaces. But for the elderly, those kind of checkups can be costly. That's why volunteers from the St. Paul and Minneapolis Pipefitters Union gave time today to visit more than 250 seniors' homes. They're inspecting furnaces, making repairs where needed, checking smoke detectors, and winterizing homes, all for free.
It's really very relaxing when you have someone that you can count on and know that they're going to do the work nice and good.
The project, known as Heat On, started in Minneapolis 7 years ago and has since spread to 30 cities in 13 states. And for the last 2 years, I've actually gone out with the crews while they've done that. And the people are so appreciative. They bake cookies and do all kinds of nice things for the people.
Nice endorsement there. They do the work nice and good.
It's a great program, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, there's still a lot more here to tell you about on Eyewitness News.
Yeah, Northern California town is evacuated when a hot air balloon propane tank explodes, igniting several other tanks.
Residents in Missouri and Kansas are bracing for more flooding as heavy rains once again force rivers over banks.
After 20 years, a sure Hall of Famer calls it a career in Kansas City. This is Ed Cairo. I'll have that story later in sports.
After 7 years of applause, what comes next? Stay tuned.
Imagine if everyone had a place to call home.
If there was no more hunger. If every child
had someone to look up.
Had someone to look up to.
Imagine if everyone could find work. Imagine if kids had something.
Imagine if kids had a place to play.
Imagine
if kids had a place to play.
There was no more fear.
There was no more fear.
Imagine if everyone knew how to read.
Imagine what we can do together. This year, please give generously to United Way.
Great food can come from anyone. As long as the shredded natural cheese comes from Sargento of Wisconsin.
Create a warm, beautiful hearth with a Heat and Glow fireplace. Heat and Glow's direct vent gas fireplaces do not require a chimney. The airtight firebox exchanges outside combustion air and exhaust gases through a balanced flue system. These patented fireplaces are clean burning and energy efficient. For your existing fireplace, Heat and Glow offers gas logs and efficient gas or wood burning inserts. Heat and Glow, the smart choice. Available at...
Our look at world news begins with a propane explosion in Northern California.
About 200 people were forced from their homes this morning when a portable propane tank being fueled for a hot air balloon exploded in Yountville. That's in the Napa Valley, about 45 miles north of San Francisco. The balloon company was filling 40-gallon tanks when one tank exploded and ignited about a dozen others. Residents were able to return to their homes late this afternoon.
In Alabama, emergency crews recovered the data recorder that could help determine what caused Wednesday's Amtrak disaster. The device will tell investigators how fast the train was going and exactly what time it plunged off a bridge near the town of Saraland. 47 people died in the accident. A barge lost in the fog hit the bridge shortly before the train crossed it.
There's shock and outrage this evening following reports that American soldiers were literally butchered in Somalia. A U.S. helicopter was shot down over Mogadishu, killing 3 Americans on board. Somalis danced on the wreckage and reportedly waved human flesh from dead crew members. 2 other crew members survived the crash and fled to safety. This is the first American helicopter shot down since U.S. troops arrived in Somalia 10 months ago. The political crisis continues in Russia this evening, but President Yeltsin promises he will win. 100 lawmakers remain barricaded inside the parliament building. Today, Yeltsin promised they will not be prosecuted if they come out. The protest began Tuesday when Yeltsin disbanded the parliament, took complete control of the government, and ordered new elections for December.
Well, we'll have more news coming up in just a moment.
From the creators of Les Miserables comes their newest, their most memorable musical ever, Miss Saigon. Newsweek magazine says the show is already a legend. Miss Saigon begins January 11th at the Orpheum Theater. Call 612-989-5151.
Furnace not heating like it used to? Get the Train XC90 furnace. Dependable warmth with a 90% efficiency rating and a lifetime limited warranty on its heat exchangers. It's hard to stop a train.
Receive Train's 5-year parts and labor warranty free. Contact Westbrook Air or Ron's Mechanical Incorporated.
Hi, this is Louie from the garage. Yeah, there's a real good chance that we just might possibly have your tune-up done today. That is if we get to it, Miss Davis.
Ken from Amico Certicare. Your car will be ready by 4.
Now, we haven't got to it yet, but we're getting there.
You can pick it up anytime, Miss Davis.
Amico Certicare, the certified repair center. You expect more from a leader.
The 93 Ford truck and van model closeout sale is in full swing at Art Goebel Ford, Coon Rapids. Prices are as low as they've been for some time. All F-Series trucks and conversion vans have sale prices. Conversion vans from the biggest names, Waldock, Chariot, Eclipse, and others, starting as low as $18,995, also come with $1,000 rebates from Ford. Don't miss the truck and van closeout sale at Art Goebel Ford, Coon Rapids. For 39 years, simply the best.
Well, just when residents in Missouri and Kansas thought the worst was behind them, heavy rains have renewed the flooding woes.
Yeah, after cleaning up from this summer's flood waters, rivers are once again overflowing their banks.
Jill Farmer is on the banks of the Merrimack River just outside of St. Louis, and she filed this report a few moments ago.
Well, right now we're having to move because the water is edging up right against us here. Earlier today, believe it or not, we could drive all the way down the street as far as you can see. As you can see, now it's just filled up like a bathtub in this neighborhood. By the time we reach our projected crest tomorrow, they're saying that as many as 400 homes in this area could be flooded. It's been steadily pouring into town for the last 24 hours. The residents aren't taking any more chances. They're getting out while they can. How long before you think the water's going to get into your upper floor?
Probably by 8 o'clock tonight.
And how high are they telling you it'll get?
4 feet inside the house.
Sewer backup is already filling up hundreds of basements. To give you an idea just how quickly the waters of the Merrimack are coming up here, less than 45 minutes ago, the waters just reached to the edge of that sign. Now they're out into the street by about 12 feet, and they'll be crossing it very soon. Homeowners aren't the only ones moving to higher ground. This church has become a makeshift firehouse. Firefighters say at the rate the water is flowing in, they'd soon need a ladder to stay dry at their station. The kids are back at school today, getting a lesson in sandbagging. Many are afraid the elementary school and junior high will flood, just like they did in 1982.
We might have to go to a different school, or we could go to school in the summertime, and I don't want to do that.
Grown-ups are equally distraught.
All the instructional supplies and all the desks and those kinds of things are out. But we're still concerned about, for example, our gym floor. Those are very expensive, and, you know, we don't want to have something happen.
Access to many parts of town is now shut off. It won't be long before folks here will have to resort to boats for transportation. The folks here really thought they'd made it through the flood of '93 high and dry. They were caught unaware by the deluge of rain we've had over the past week here. They didn't expect the river here to go out of its banks, so many of them escaped with just a few belongings. They expect to find a lot of damage when they get back home. This is Jill Farmer reporting live from Missouri.
Okay, Jill, thank you. Residents in Iowa are also facing new flooding concerns. This time they're worried about the Walnut Creek in West Des Moines. The National Weather Service says the creek will surge out of its banks sometime today.
Well, we have been so lucky weather-wise around the Twin Cities this whole spring and summer, and today, of course, was gorgeous.
Chris Grote's up on the weather deck, and I know he's got great news about today, but he's about to yank that right away from us with tomorrow's forecast, aren't you?
1 week ago today, we were reveling in the sunshine, early fall sun here. The autumnal equinox was 3 days ago. Tomorrow, more rainfall moving in. Can you believe that? 2 Sundays in a row are going to be pretty crummy. A good day to curl up on the couch with a book or maybe watch a little football, right? There's a game tomorrow, isn't there? Okay, outside, beautiful evening. Tower cam picks up clouds on the southeastern horizon. This is the northern edge of the storm that has dumped as much as 15 inches of rain over portions of Kansas over the past 24 hours. A lot of 6-7 inch rain totals in Kansas and Missouri, surging those rivers out of their banks. In Minneapolis and St. Paul, a beautiful evening. Temperatures around the state are showing temperatures in the 60s, with the exception of Rochester, a little closer to that system, 58 degrees there. In Alexandria at 69, Brainerd is at 71, 74 balmy degrees in Fargo. At last check in Minneapolis and St. Paul at 63. The dew point, 45, 52% relative humidity. The winds have been nice and gentle all day long. Now they're running southeasterly at 6, and the barometric pressure is steady. Almanac data for this afternoon, 66 and 44. Kind of a cool morning, no precipitation as of yet. Sunrise and sunset. Again, as I mentioned, we are near the autumnal equinox. Equinox meaning equal day and night, so the sunrise, sunset times, real close to each other. 91 and 31 are the records. Wow. 2 Sundays in a row of crummy weather coming up. I'm looking on the northwestern horizon. I see a few of those high, thin cirrus clouds. Cirrus clouds usually show up in advance of an approaching storm, give you about 12 to 24 hours before the rainfall starts to show up. By tomorrow morning, gray skies. By 8, 9 in the morning, we could start to see some light rainfall. Could be a couple of hours of rain, off and on rain on Sunday. Cooler temperatures, of course, with that rain. Satellite picture picks up the fact that we're in between two systems. So all that murky whiteness down to the south of us, that's a heck of a storm, producing lots of rain over Kansas and Missouri. Thank you. Now rainfall over southern Wisconsin. Those milky white clouds over the Dakotas not producing rainfall as of yet, but over Minnesota into western Wisconsin tomorrow. Showers and a raw northwesterly wind. The winds will be gusting to about 25 miles an hour, a good 25 miles an hour, keeping temperatures in the 50s. The AccuWeather 5 forecast. Overnight tonight, we'll see the clouds move in from the northwest there. By tomorrow morning, it is going to be gray. Tonight's low temperatures into the upper 40s, showers developing probably before 10 in the morning. I think the radar will become active. Then looking again to Sunday afternoon, showers off and on all day long. Tomorrow night, some lingering showers, cooler air blowing in on those northwesterly winds, temperatures in the 40s, and on Monday, lots of clouds to start the new work week with a high temperature of about 58 degrees. Looking at the entire AccuWeather 5 outlook for the next few days to come, temperatures will be stunted in the 50s at best. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, there's the potential for some frost. A big chunk of high pressure will be settling into the upper Midwest. A big weather pattern change coming up, Inga and Mike, could really signal the change of the leaves, perhaps next week or the week after.
They've been changing for a while in my neighborhood.
I was going to say, it was up in northern Minnesota, and they're already kind of in full force out there.
About halfway done in northern Minnesota. Southwestern Minnesota, an early change here in the Twin Cities. Give it 2 weeks, and we'll be in full color.
Ooh, thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, coming up next in sports, instead of a pennant, the Twins right now are just playing for pride.
Plus, a baseball legend who's made the Royals proud announces that he's stepping aside. Ed Cairo is in for Eric Gisselson, and he joins us next with sports.
From the creators of Les Miserables comes their newest, their most memorable musical ever, Miss Saigon. Newsweek magazine says the show is already a legend. Miss Saigon begins January 11th at the Orpheum Theater. Call 612-989-5151.
If you're thinking about selling your house, think RE/MAX. RE/MAX is the real estate leader in cities and towns across the continent. That's because our experienced full-time sales associates outsell other real estate agents 3 to 1. So if you're looking for a sale, look for RE/MAX. Out in front.
With Blockbuster video stores popping up all over, there's only one place where you'll find more movies. But it's a 1,875-mile drive. Blockbuster Video. Opening soon in Eagan and at Grand and Lexington.
Are you hungry? Really hungry? Then head to Bonanza, where for a limited time you can get a boatload of our all-you-can-eat crispy golden fried shrimp with a piping hot potato and all-you-can-eat soup, salads, breads, and desserts for one low price of $6.99.
When there's a meal at stake, it's Bonanza, 'cause we know what you're looking for.
The all-you-can-eat shrimp dinner, just $6.99 at Bonanza.
Well, I can admit this. Everybody knows I grew up in the Kansas City area, and growing up, George Brett, as an adolescent, he was one of my heroes, one of my idols.
Yeah, and even when he grew up, he was too, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he continued to be. He did. He has continued to be.
He's a terrific guy. I can say that from having worked with him, if we can put it that way, over the years. He's always been a gentleman, terrific to interview, insightful guy, great athlete. He's a lot of fun, and we'll miss him.
Yeah.
He'll be around the game, though, I'm sure.
In management, right?
He'll stick around, yep. For the second time this week, baseball losing a legend to retirement. First, Nolan Ryan announced this week he was calling it quits. Then today, it was George Brett's turn.
I've accomplished more in my playing days than I ever thought I would. Played more games, gotten more hits, more home runs, played a more championship series, more all-star games, injured my knee more times than I ever thought I would.
Brett will stay with the Royals as their vice president of baseball operations. Then, of course, it's on to Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. The Twins almost gave up a win today in Boston. The Red Sox scored 5 times on reliever Rick Aguilera, but the Twins were able to hold on. They led 5-2, of course, before Aguilera came on and gave up 2 home runs, including this 2-run shot to Rob Deere. The game was tied at 5 in the 10th when the Twins scored 4 times. 2 runs came on Chip Hale's double. The Sox scored twice, but it wasn't enough. The Twins win it 9-7 in 10. And now on to the contenders. The Toronto Blue Jays moved a step closer to clinching their 3rd straight AL East title today. They beat the Yankees. By George, it may be all over for New York tomorrow. George Steinbrenner didn't like what he saw in Toronto today. Jays starter Al Leader gave up only 1 hit in 6 scoreless innings. The Jays beat the Yanks 3-1 to reduce their magic number to 2. Also, Chicago and Texas were postponed today. The White Sox magic number stays at 3. Over in the National League, the Philly fanatic was at it again today. He was busy undressing that Braves fan, but so far it didn't appear that Atlanta is going to be stripped of their title as the NL West champions. Ron Gant drilled a homer to lead the Braves past the Phils. Atlanta's magic number is 7. Philly's still there at 3. Also in the National League, the Giants beat the Padres 3-1 to stay 2 games behind the Braves. Well, on to football. The Gophers will have their hands full tonight when they play San Diego State out west. The Aztecs come in with one of the most powerful offenses in the nation, led by Heisman Trophy hopeful Marshall Faulk. Meantime, a pair of unbeatens, Wisconsin and Indiana, met in Bloomington today. The 23rd-ranked Badgers led 6-0 and were trying to tack on the extra point when it was blocked. Indiana's Lance Brown finally scooped up the loose ball and went the distance. The defensive conversion is worth 2 points, and it was 6-2 Wisconsin. But the Badgers have a pair of running backs that are hard to bring down, Brent Moss and Terrell Fletcher. Moss rushed for 198 yards. Fletcher took off on that play, 57 yards for a TD. The Badgers are 4-0 after knocking off the hometown Hoosiers 27-15. Elsewhere in the Big Ten today, it was Notre Dame over Purdue, shutting them down in the rain. Michigan easily over Houston. It was Illinois bested by Oregon. Michigan Tech whomped by Michigan State. Northwestern beat Wake Forest 26-14. The top game nationally involved 2 teams that are normally near the top. Number 3, Miami, went into Boulder, Colorado to play the 13th-ranked Buffaloes. The key play in that game came early in the second quarter. Miami leading 7-3, facing 4th and 1. Hurricanes went for it, and it paid off. Donnell Bennett got the yard and more, 45 to be exact. He scored the TD, and then things got out of hand right before halftime. Both benches emptied, punches and kicks were thrown, 12 players were ejected. Miami won the battle, and they won the war to beat Colorado this afternoon, and the rankings would suggest they would have. Elsewhere in the top 10, it was Alabama big over Louisiana Tech. Colorado State stomped by Nebraska. It was Oklahoma over Tulsa. Bethel was beaten by Carleton by 3 today, and it was Concordia over Hamlin by 3. That's about it.
Boy, the Phillies and the Braves, what a great matchup. Hope that's the NL series. Looks
that
like
could
a good
be
one.
it.
Looks like it.
All
Thanks,
right.
Ed.
We'll be right back with more news in just a moment.
Tonight's Eyewitness News Weekend Sports Report is brought to you by the Men's Warehouse.
The Men's Warehouse is a fine men's specialty store. And when you walk into a Men's Warehouse, you're immediately surprised at how nice the store really looks. And we go out of our way to make it a pleasant experience. We are not a place where you can buy a cheap suit cheap. We are a place where you can buy quality designer clothing at a 20 to 30% discount. I guarantee it.
The Men's Warehouse. Call 1-800-776-SUIT.
It's coming this weekend. The Country Folk Art Show and Sale at the State Fairgrounds. It's the leading folk art show in the nation, featuring hundreds of the best folk artisans from across the country with quality handcrafted reproductions of early country life in America. There's teddy bears, country furniture and cabinets, pottery and stoneware, quilts, and thousands more country decorating needs for sale. Don't miss the Country Folk Art Show and Sale this weekend at the State Fairgrounds.
Want to try something new from Hardee's? It's the New York Reuben sandwich.
Looks like the real Reubens you get here in New York.
Hardee's Reuben is made with real grilled New York rye. And a stack of lean corned beef.
Just like in New York.
Ours is topped with sauerkraut and Swiss cheese.
Like in New York. So what makes yours better?
You don't have to go to New York to get one.
Hello.
Now we've even got a New York bagel sandwich at breakfast.
Just like in New York.
Are you ready for some real food?
Hardee's.
With information that's more provocative, more useful, and easier to find, the improved Star Tribune has more of what you're hungry for. The Star Tribune, the new paper of the Twin Cities.
At 5 tonight, the apples and the pumpkins and some of the other fall crops are just about prime for the picking.
And the Children's Museum found just the right people to do it today. Whether it was bobbing for apples on a string or grinding up some others for some sweet apple cider, as you'll see this young man doing here, these kids are getting some first-hand experience with the fall harvest. The museum has been growing fruits, vegetables, and spices all summer just for this occasion.
Aw, that'll do it for us tonight.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll be back at 10.
Goodbye.
This week's Siskel and Ebert review, Angelic Macaulay Culkin showing his true nature in The Good